Come join us on the starship Earth and reconnect with the science of the land and stars. From the depth of the oceans to the top of the cedars and beyond the galaxy. Portals and ceremonies, gravitational waves, caribou, highways, laughter as medicine, quantum entanglement, glacier, sovereignty, hunting, mathematics, berries, fire, crocus teachings, star people and Pleiades, grandmother, moon. Tellings from Stones to Stars on the Ancestral Science Podcast, a place to learn the sciences of the 7 directions.
Well, welcome back to the Ancestral Science Podcast. My name is Corey. I'll be your host and guide on this journey where we together learn more about the depth of science, from stones to stars, or as we like to call it here, the OG science. Well, we've recorded this episode in the midst of a Chinook in a cold front on an early winter afternoon here in the lands of the Blackfoot Confederacy, Tsuut'ina Nation, Yithka Nakota First Nation, and more recently, the Otampamisuwak Métis. This is part 2 of an Auntie Laugh-based episode. If you have not already listened to part 1, that was released on January 19th, maybe go back and check that one out first. But if you already have, you are ready for some more knowledge, stories, science, and laughter, right? Because in this episode, the Ancestral Science Podcast reconnected again with Melissa Roberts and Emily Kerton, Indigenous educators weaving knowledges in land-based science into the Ontario curriculum. We learned about the importance of patience and humility within education and knowledge, bird goggles, the suspension of disbelief, sacrificing your ego, the third deer, falling acorns, and how not to use the faciliTREES. Yes, the faciliTREES. Check out the show notes in this episode. There's going to be some great educational resources there. And you got to stay tuned for the end of this episode for an absolute treat in the form of a trifecta of poop stories that will surely induce facial and stomach laughter cramps, as well as a hilarious lightning round that closes it off. So thanks again to Emil Starlight for the seamless editing, videography, and audio, as well as Walter Whitebear, Sharon Foster, and Emil for that amazing opening tune. Take a moment to like, share, follow, and rate. It is very, very much appreciated. And if you want to support the pod in a different way, check out some unique Indigenous science merch at relationalsciencecircle, all one word, .com/shop. Again, in these times, it can be difficult and, we're in some interesting energy around us. But as we've learned here, everything is interconnected. So sending all of your prayers and your positive energy to Minnesota during these times is, what we can do right now to support the best that we can. So all the prayers over that direction. From experience, as we know, laughter is medicine. So this episode, again, has definitely brought that to the forefront. So as well, again, grab your sippy cup, maybe with some tea or coffee, light a smudge if you can, and join us again to learn from and laugh alongside the aunties Melissa Roberts and Emily Kerton. I work with a lot of non-Indigenous teachers, and there's a lot of concern about, doing this work and having to, bring in Indigenous knowledge, Indigenous science into the curriculum, and without really any support in how to do that well. What would your advice be? What would you suggest to non-Indigenous teachers? And I know you were saying, it's important. I love that, making relationships with community, making relationships with friendship centers, and starting with what is around you, and not about us without us. Sometimes that's not possible. Sometimes there's not, previous supports. So there's not, there's not a friendship center, there's not access to elders or community, and people are doing the best they can. What advice would you give them?
Hmm, that's an interesting question. I make an assumption that every school board has a team, like a First Nations,
In Ontario, we do.
Métis, Inuit team.
Yeah.
That's Ontario. So maybe that is something that exists within their school board, that they can lean on for advice and resources. But that could be a bad assumption that not every school board has that.
No.
No.
No, you are lucky. Yeah. Or there's not. Yeah, it's, that's, there are supports here, and I know there's supports in other places, but sometimes it's not, there's a couple people that are super overworked, and we do what we can, but that's why I start with land-based learning. Like, okay, first thing you can do, start those relationships. Once you can, understand those relationships with the land, with the weather, with the cycles, with the elements, starting there, and then and I like what was mentioned about what is your passion, and what can what's something that about, that you have a lot of relationships with with that whatever area, industry, community that you're already working with alongside, starting there, and how can that be expanded. But yeah, there's not a lot of support in some places.
I would say to someone who didn't have support that it might take a bit of courage, and bravery, maybe, to step outside their comfort zone and go find those connections. So maybe there isn't the support within the school, or there's no friendship center, but there's probably an Indigenous nation that maybe they could connect with in some way. And being humble and approaching with friendship and kindness, and the spirit of what you're trying to do, like saying, I really want to bring this into my class, and is there someone who can help me? And it's possible that those teachers will feel nervous about that, and that's normal, and that's okay. And I find anyone you approach with that kind of kindness and just asking for help, I think you can't go wrong. You approach with that humility.
I think it also, there's so many struggles that we have between the way we've traditionally done things and when we work in the school system, because the education system is very much, you've got this amount of time and you've got to get this done, and they're measurable goals, and you need to meet
Success criteria.
Yeah, all these criteria. The SMART goals or whatever. I never even learned those things.
Level 4+.
Yeah, but a lot of times we have to remember that when we're going to approach an Indigenous person or community, there has to be patience. Like, you have to take your time, because it's all about building relationship.
Yes.
We think about, when we trust somebody too quickly, then we open ourselves up to getting burned, right? And that applies to it doesn't matter who you are, what nation you belong to, or, your economic status. It doesn't matter. There's a time when you're getting to know somebody that you don't just throw all your secrets out there and all this, the special knowledge that you might carry, because you don't know that person yet, right? The only entity you could do that with is the earth, because Mother Earth's not going to judge you. She's not going to tell your secrets. She's going to welcome you no matter where you're at in your life or who you are. So, if people want to try to build those relationships, they have to be patient. They have to take time. And it's also about making sacrifices. Like, we learn when, like, I went fasting last May long weekend, and some really incredible things happened as a result of that fast. I learned it was life-changing for me, this ceremony. And it's about, like, anytime we attend a ceremony, they're asking for us to sacrifice something to show our commitment. And I know that sounds very, like, cut and dry, and that's not really how it works, but it's like the premise of it, right? Like, are you willing to put time in to learn something, or are you just going check, check, check? Because that's not how our communities work.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's that reciprocity, right? We say like there's
Yes.
always that balance of reciprocity. If we take too much, like we take so much from Mother Earth, like what are we giving back? And that's like fasting, going to ceremony. You are sacrificing a lot. There's there are challenges
And you might be, and in the case of a non-Indigenous person approaching with like bravery and courage, you might be sacrificing your ego. Like that
Oh,
might be,
absolutely.
right? That might be the thing that you have to
Yeah.
give up in that moment, that like ego and control, right?
Yep.
Yep.
I know I can say this to that point is that when I was fasting, I was told by a friend of mine, Jordan Quackwish. He's a ceremony keeper, a lodge keeper. He's just an incredible human being who just knows things, right? And he said to me, anytime you feel like you're struggling when you're fasting, you pray. And so, like I had taken there's a whole bunch of things that go on when you fast, but I had a package, like a lot of Asema or tobacco with me. And every time I'd start to get into my head, like over 4 days, we had all four seasons from blazing heat on May long weekend here to snow. And, you're outside, you don't have a lot of well, you have no resources really beyond like a little shelter. Um, but like every time I started to get into my head, like, oh my gosh, I don't like this is really uncomfortable. I'm so cold. Or someone would come into my thoughts. I'd put some tobacco down and pray for them. I was giving thanks for every single thing that I probably take, well, I know I take for granted, on a daily basis. And so that sacrifice of not being in a nice warm place, of not having someone, I can't just pick up my phone and go, man, I'm feeling really crappy right now. Can you tell me a joke? That forced me to like have that conversation with Creator. That forced me to speak to the squirrel that was running around keeping me company, to the faces, the energy that I saw in the bush. Um, the ancestors who were always with me. So it's that recognition, that suspension of belief, I guess it is. I know I earlier said disbelief. I don't know what the term is, but sometimes you just got to let it go.
Suspension of disbelief.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks. So
like that.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
That was a great answer.
Thanks.
Bert, with it, is birding something that could be a gateway to this work, to doing this work? Is birding as the gateway drug? I would like emo insert bird sounds here.
You win.
Yeah.
My two-spirit people.
So we were having this conversation, Melissa and I, about this participatory mindset that I feel like is a next level of mindfulness. And this idea of being out when you're on the land, just I think in any moment in your life where you're just paying attention to what's going on around you.
I'm sorry, what were you saying? Wasn't paying attention.
Hilarious. But I was saying that birding is something that I find, I call it my bird goggles, that like I go on multi-day birding trips with an uncle that I have. And he is this incredible birder who has become an incredible birder through the last several years because he has health issues, and birding has become the medicine for his health issues. Because when he's out birding, he forgets about what's happening with his body because he is so focused on what's happening around him. And so we go on these multi-day birding trips, and by the end of the trip, I have what I call my bird goggles on, which is that like literally if anything moves within my visual periphery, I'm on it. I know what it is. I recognize its shape. Boom, like I got it. So we were saying that, birding is maybe like this gateway for people to start observing what's happening around them, because birds they're so easy to attract to your backyard. So if you wanted to become a backyard birder or in a schoolyard, like for teachers, this is a really great way to start paying attention to things, how they move and change in the world around us. Different kinds of birds will come to the feeder at different seasons. So this is a really easy way to start understanding how these things change. And there's like lots of jokes and memes about like how you're 40 and you suddenly become a birder. Well, I think it's probably because as you're aging, you're starting to realize that you need to pay attention a little more to what's going around you. So, so you don't like pull out your back when you sneeze. That kind of thing.
Does it explain all the hawks that I'm seeing?
Yes, totally. Like, so like I think a lot of times too, the birds were a guide. Like you would see birds and you would know that something's happening. So a great example of that is so when there's this one particular road that I drive, and I'm always signaled to when there's a carcass on the road by the birds. So you see the eagle in the tree. You see the vultures in the summer that are nearby. You see them in the trees or down. The crows and ravens, like they're the signal to you that something is happening. So that, like, just paying attention to that is a great way to get into starting to pay attention to everything else.
We have lots of stories about how crows and wolves work together, as far as, hunting. The crows can let the wolves know that there's potential prey up ahead because they're loud and raucous, and then the wolves leave bits behind for the crows to feed on. So it's, again, a very symbiotic relationship, right? And if you're seeing hawks, lots of hawks, you need to talk to a knowledge keeper and elder, because that's the spirits coming to talk to you, right? That's all.
Yeah, that's a different conversation.
That's it.
That's it. Yeah. It was the birds of signaling is interesting because I was amongst all the hawks that I saw driving back from Fernie over the holidays, and it was the worst roads. It's like windy, it was raining, and then all of a sudden it was -20. It was and so I'm driving, and I realized only later I only had one headlight. I think that's why, like, why is everyone trying to flashing their lights at me? I grew up in the 90s. That's like a gang thing, right? Right? Or it's like someo's going to murder me. I don't know which one it is, but that's all the movies that I saw in the 90s.
No story about the person with the lights flashing
in the back seat. They're
is that a real story?
That's another story.
An urban myth. Yeah. Anyway, that's
another. So I'm driving on a back road. It's like white out, and I've seen all these hawks already, and then I see a massive owl, and that's on these lands, owl, it means change. Often for many communities that means negative change, and can signal something bad. I see like massive owl right on the side of the road, and all of a sudden I'm just aware what is happening, and coming straight towards me in the middle of the road was a grader. And I was like, oh my God, pull over on the side, or else I wouldn't have. Yeah, it was a warning to the. Yeah. So thank you, Mr. Owl.
Yeah.
That's very cool.
Very cool.
And if you hadn't been paying attention to that, you might have been injured.
So watch out for the birds. There we go.
That's what Alfred Hitchcock was trying to warn us about. It's a scary movie. But anyhow.
That is a scary movie.
So ridiculous. I'd be like, yes, come in, birds, come in.
Then they would peck you to death.
I'm not scared. Me and Makwa, we're good.
You're good. Got this. But that was a big was there anything else that you wanted to chat about? Because that was any other things that you want to mention with all the amazing stuff that you're both are doing?
We have on our list that we sent.
Yeah, you were.
Well, if we have time, there's two more, well, maybe three more little stories that we could share. Because I wrote it all down, then I sent it to you.
Yes.
But I think I mentioned twice now these deer in Toronto, and it talks about there are a couple of interesting experiences that have happened to me that show that it's not just in isolated or rural areas where connections and experiences with Mother Earth and our ancestors and things like that happen. And maybe 4 or 5 years ago now, I was at what's it called now? Toronto Metropolitan University.
Yeah.
Used to be Ryerson. It's been renamed because Ryerson was part of the residential school story. But I was asked to go down there with a friend of mine from Thunder Bay, and we did some traditional hide tanning on the campus of the university. And the night before the demonstration, the course was happening at the university. We were going through the hides. It had been pre-soaking for a few days because we had to like sort of expedite the process. And one of the hides, for whatever reason, had started to rot and decompose. And it was just this one hide that, we're talking about. And it's like, it was quite strange that this hide was falling apart. So the next day after we'd finished the course, we went to a spot along in the Don Valley, I guess it's the Don River, I don't know. It's quite a lush green area that runs through the middle of downtown Toronto. And I had said to the two other people with me, we're going to do something else, and I said, I'll take this hide and go put it somewhere where it won't be disturbed. And so as I was walking through like this, because down in Southern Ontario, it's very different than the bush we have here. The land underneath is clean. There's no shrubs and stuff like that, right?
Yeah.
And so you can see for quite a ways. And they call it the Don River Valley for a reason. And so as I was walking through the bush, and I use the term loosely, through these massive like oaks and maples and elms, like I was speaking to the hide and the spirit of the deer before I put it back on the land. And something caught my eye, and I looked up on top of this like high hill, and there were two deer. I'm thinking, there should not be deer here in the middle of Toronto. Like, regardless of it being this green belt, they should not be here. How did they get here, right? So as I walked further and further along the riverbank looking for somewhere to put this hide down back to the land, these deer were watching me, and they were pacing me and following me along this ridge up above until finally I found the spot. And for me, I'm told the earth tells me where things are supposed to go and how things are supposed to be. And so I found this beautiful tree. The sun was going down at this time of the day, so the sunlight was coming from the west, and I knew this was the spot where this hide would go. So I put it down, I prayed over it, and put my tobacco down, and then I started to walk away from it. And something told me to turn around, and these two deer had stopped up on this ridge when I put the hide down and when I was praying and putting the tobacco down. And when I had walked far enough away, which wasn't really far away, they came down, they wound their way down from this ridge, and they came over to where this hide was, and they stood there. And it was almost like they were communicating, right? They weren't making any noise, but there was just this energy that I felt with them. And then the three of them walked away. So they had come to pick up the spirit of their relative. And the three of them walked away, because then I felt like there was an emptiness kind of thing.
Yeah, and I just got goosebumps.
Yeah. I mean, there's so many stories like that I've been blessed to be able to carry just from being out on the land. So do you want to tell them?
Thank you for sharing.
The ties?
Oh, sure. Do we still have time?
We're not on colonial time. Come on now.
That was the right answer. When Melissa shared that story with me, I was thinking about a story or an experience that I too had. So when I worked at the Science Center and did a lot of work with Indigenous communities, something that was really important to me was giving back and being of service to communities. So I organized a work day with my good friend and teacher, Julia Pegamagabo, who lives in Atikameksheng in Anishinaabeg, which is the traditional territory of Sudbury, Ontario. Um, and she is this incredible person, language speaker, medicine woman. And so she has a language nest called Akinamotion. And so she was building a place with some little buildings and a yurt as a classroom on the land so that they could have a place to go to get out of the elements. And so I organized this work day. So we went, we helped, we cleared trails, we helped build the platform for the yurt, and it was just this really lovely day with them. And previous to that day, we had had a training at the Science Center about Orange Short Day and September 30th. And I'd had all the staff make tobacco tie with orange cloth and put all of their thoughts about residential schools in that time into the tobacco tie. And then I took all the tobacco ties to this day on the land where Julia's husband, Chuck, is a firekeeper, and he did a ceremony with them. So he built a sacred fire and he did a ceremony with the tobacco ties. So the whole entire day, we were surrounded by the sounds of the forest and mainly acorns falling out of the oak trees. And they were like pinging off our heads. And I was thinking, like, this is like a health and safety nightmare. Like, I was making jokes to Julia about how we should be wearing hard hats and like just acorns, like just constantly pinging. And there was this wind and like it was blowing the oak trees and just everywhere raining acorns. And then we went into this place where they were building a traditional teaching lodge. They had just the structure up for it. And Chuck built the sacred fire. And as he started the ceremony, the entire forest went completely silent. And not a single acorn fell, not a single rustle of the leaves. The smoke from the orange tobacco ties went straight up. Like the entire forest world, ancestors, spirits all just went quiet to listen to Chuck's prayers and to the thoughts that all of the staff had put into the tobacco ties. And I always claim that I'm not a spiritual person, but that I am in awe of the natural world constantly, and that's my form of spiritualism. Like I'm constantly brought to tears by things that I see in the forest. And in this moment, it was like, oh my gosh, look at what's happening. And as soon as all the tobacco ties had burnt, the forest came back alive and the acorns started raining again and the wind came in. It was just an incredible. Wow. And that's part of, like also paying attention. Yeah. Because if I hadn't been paying attention beforehand to the acorns falling and the wind, I wouldn't have noticed the calm that came in that moment.
Yeah, and the spirits of the children were coming to listen as well, right? Which is also very interesting because we often think of children as being loud and boisterous, which they can be. But I mean, at that time, their spirits are coming back to say thank you. Thank you for thinking of us. I mean, we talk about, like my partner has a condo down in Toronto, and my mother-in-law, who's 99, God bless her soul.
Amazing.
She is a little spitfire right now. She's had some health issues recently. My partner has been down there to provide some support for her, but I swear to God she's like a century old. Like it's insane how old she is. Like it's ridiculous, and she's not dust,
So tell us how you feel about how old she is.
It's remarkable. Anyway, it's very difficult for me to be down in a big urban center like that because it's not the land I know. It's not the land I'm connected to. But I do my very best to be connected wherever I can. And there's again, another trail area, sort of a little green belt called Taylor Creek. And we were out walking the dogs when I was down there. Was it just a week ago? Maybe now?
It was,
gosh. I was down there and we were walking the dogs. And I'm like, oh, what's going on over there? And there was a teacher with a small class of his kids. There might have been about 10 kids. And they were out in this very urban area under some trees beside this river that even at its highest is kind of sludgy. It's kind of greeny water. There's, when the water's down, you can see the garbage that's thrown in there. But these magnificent trees are massive, and they're bent in the most incredible shapes, and like they're just beautiful. And he had his class out there doing things on the land. Like, okay, I want you guys to go find a stick and we're going to do this, and here's your safe radius. And then I looked, like I took some pictures. I'm like, this is incredible. And we walked a little bit further, and there was a spot where in the past somebody had, like, there was a fallen tree and they had taken longer sticks and made like a shelter framework, right? And they had logs arranged in like a semicircle where I'm assuming he would have sat with them.
Mm-hmm.
I was thinking about that, and I really wished I'd gone over to him and said, what are you guys doing? And thank you for doing this. Because oftentimes teachers say, I don't have time to go outside. There's nowhere to go. And like,
the kids will run away.
The kids will run away.
It's not safe. That's my
There's so
least
many
favorite
excuses, right? And so when you met my friends Callie and Jasmine, when we were out in Banff presenting at that conference, our whole presentation was based on the little things you can do to get the kids outside, even if it's an urban setting, right? And the last thing that kind of ties in with that is that, here we were driving down this 6-lane road in East York, Toronto, and we'd stopped at a light, and there was, like, I don't know, the grass, because there wasn't a lot of snow down there. There might be now, but this meridian was maybe 1.5 meters wide, and there was this little tree that probably was maybe 7 or 8. I almost said 6, 7. 7 or 8 feet tall.
And you just did.
I know. Just trying to hit all the demographics here. Yeah. This tree that might have been 7 or 8 feet tall, and in some of the branches was this tiny little nest. And I sat there and I thought about it. It's like, if I wasn't paying attention to the world around me, I would have missed that. And then, of course, I had this whole process in my head where I'm thinking, the mother bird must know that this is a safe enough place for her babies to be born. And there must be a food source close by so that she can feed her children. And it's safe enough here for them to fly. Excuse me. And then I started thinking about, well, this mother bird I'm giving her the attributes of how she would think like we would think. And then it all came back to how we're all related, and we're all, like, I am my relatives and my relatives are me. And everything we do is interconnected and symbiotic and relational.
Beautiful.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, that's a great place to end the conversation. I think the moral of this conversation was just go out and make relationships with the land.
Exactly.
Go find the deer over here, the mouse in the house, the
fly with the bow tie,
the rat on the path, the moose with the goose, down by the bay. Trademark, sorry.
Start paying attention.
Sorry.
People, start paying attention.
Start paying attention. Yeah. Start those relationships. Do you have any questions for me?
Yeah. When you coming to Thunder Bay?
How you doing?
What's new? Where's Winston?
Actually, he's right outside the door.
Oh, he's like, is that Melissa?
We can.
What's happening?
Melissa has the dogs. My dog also loves Melissa. I call her his number 2 favorite. Number 1 being me, obviously.
Well, yeah.
You got to watch out for the Code Browns for the number 2 favorite.
Oh my gosh. Can we tell that story? You want to tell that story?
Which one? There's so many.
Well, from the Outdoor Ed Center.
The Outdoor Ed Center?
Yeah. Because, I mean...
Do we want to finish off with a little Code Brown? You'll have to put a little teaser in this to say, like, stay to the end for food jokes.
I will. Okay, I will do that. Thank you for waiting or staying until the end of the episode and listening to all the amazing teachings from Melissa and Emily. And now here's your prize: poo jokes.
Poop jokes. Yeah.
Poop jokes.
Poop jokes.
Poop stories.
So when we were in Ottawa together at the conference, one of the things we bonded over trauma bonded.
Yeah, maybe.
Just like stories about poop, obviously.
Yeah.
And so I told this story about how at the Outdoor Education Center, sometimes you're out on a trail very far away from where the toilets are, and someone needs to use the faciliTREES.
Oh, faciliTREES. I see what you did there.
Did you like
Yeah,
that?
yeah, that was good. Yep.
And so when there was one instance where that happened, and we communicate with radios, especially when we're on in the winter season and skiing, because we do cross country skiing at this outdoor education center. So this is when I taught out there. So there was a individual who had an accident on the trail, and we radioed, we're going to be a little late getting back to the main building because we've got a code brown. Anyways, and then that started a whole cascade of great stories.
Yep.
All related to poop.
All related to poop. But I will specifically tell a poop story.
Oh, yeah.
About the pencil dip. You know this one? So I was just telling the staff out at the Outdoor Center this story because it's hilarious. So this was around the time when Code Brown was like first started with the staff. We started using the terminology. So there's a little building there that has a kitchen and a microscope lab. And so part of one of the programs is to go and get creatures from the lake and the bog and look at them under the microscope. It's cool. So we were in the building, and we'd had a class of young students, not super young, like grade 2 or grade 3, in the room. And they were there, they were doing an activity, they were writing with pencils, and they left. Like, they were done, they left. And so it was just me and the volunteer left in the building to clean up. And I'm kind of like, I have a really strong sense of smell. Like, I'm a super sniffer.
Like,
so
we're talking about pencils, and this is going to be a poop story, and I have no idea where this is going.
Yeah. So I'm standing by the table, and I smell this smell, and I'm like, there's poop somewhere. And I say to the volunteer, I'm like, I smell poo. Like, do you smell poo? And she's like, no. And I'm like, I smell poo. I gotta find it. So I take the super sniffer. I go on a walk.
For 6,000.
I go on a walk. I'm like a bloodhound. Like,
available only on KTEL. Order now, and we'll send you two super sniffers for free.
So I'm like looking around. I don't see anything, and then I look under the table, and I see a pencil under the table. And I can see there's something on the end of the pencil.
You just have to work something out.
So I get a Kleenex, and I go under, and I pick up the pencil, and I don't even need to smell it because I know that on the end of that pencil, there's poo. And so what we figured is that a small child maybe had an accident in their pants and were embarrassed and didn't know what to do. And so they dipped the pencil down their pants. And then we're like, oh no. And then threw the pencil under the table and left. So that got referred to as the pencil dip. And I did shout on the radio Code Brown just because it was funny at that point.
Yeah.
So that's the Code Brown story for you.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Hope you really enjoyed that, listeners. It was what you were expecting when you tuned into this podcast.
How did we go from this?
I don't know.
We go from like being, it was a poo emergency.
Poo emergency. Are you going to tell me?
I don't remember which one. I thought you were going to tell the one about
the skis. My uncle on the skis.
Oh,
there's so many. There's so many.
Talking about the hood.
The hood.
Do you want to hear another one?
Is this going to be appropriate for your listeners?
No, you're fine.
Totally cut it off because you've got that. Yeah. A number of years ago, my brother was out moose hunting, and I'll give you the condensed version. I actually drew a comic book about
my face hurts.
This story. I drew a comic book, and I will send it to you or bring it out when we see you.
I am going to hold you to that.
It is a funny story. And I used it when I was teaching in a young offenders unit about how to write stories. But anyway, so my brother was out moose hunting with his father-in-law, and there were a few of them. And inevitably, every single time they went moose hunting, the father-in-law had to go for a poop. And
As one does.
As one does.
Yeah.
And this was back in the day with those one-piece snowsuits, like the zipper from your ankle all the way up across your stomach to your neck. Yeah. And it had a hood, fancy racing stripes and stuff, right?
Was there any fluoro? Fluorescent?
No.
Fluoro? No?
No. There was like just maybe a red and white stripe
red and white
across it.
stripe.
Like the primary colors. Yeah.
Navy blue with a red and white stripe.
Yeah.
And a fake fur hood. So anyway, off the father goes off to the side and goes to do his business. And also inevitably, he never brought toilet paper. So he'd come back without like a neck warmer or And so my brother's walking along. All of a sudden, father-in-law catches up.
Or a pencil.
Or a pencil. Who knew the stories could overlap? So anyway, walk along, and my brother doesn't have the best sense of smell. That's me. But all of a sudden, he's like, "The heck is that smell?" He goes, "Did you step in it?" And so father-in-law stops and he lifts up his boots, neck at the bottom of his boots. He goes, "No, nope, nothing there." So I just keep walking. My brother's like, "Oh my God, seriously, man, you reek." He says they're walking. All of a sudden, my brother just happens to turn as his father-in-law got a couple steps ahead and goes, "Oh my God, you pooped in your hood." So here he is walking along with his poo in his hood. So my brother's trying not to throw up, takes out his hunting knife and cuts the hood off of the snowsuit, throws it in the bush. Yeah. So many stories about poo. So many.
The Code Browns never disappoint.
Never.
Seriously. I will always laugh at them because they're hilarious.
Yeah, absolutely. It's what brings people together.
I'm telling you. Laughter is the best.
It is. My face hurts and I love it. We haven't even gone to the lightning round yet.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Here we go.
Ready? Okay.
I'm scared. I don't know.
Okay. Lightning round.
What do we have to do?
You just have to. I say lightning round. You can answer. You can answer fast. Whatever.
Lightning.
There are no rules. Okay.
Keep it quick.
What is your favorite food from your ancestral land?
Oh, blueberries.
Snowberries.
Ooh, nice.
I don't think I've had those.
I will bring you out to the Outdoor Ed Center. We'll pick some.
Deadly. Okay, go.
Okay. Sweet, salty, smoky.
Sweet.
Salty.
Oh. Okay. What's your favorite smell?
Oh,
Balsam fir trees.
Mm-hmm.
This one's hard. Not Melissa's armpits. That's my least favorite smell. Okay, we've tipped over into silly.
Winston likes the smell.
Sun-warmed pine forest. When it's like starting to warm up and it just hits that pine so perfectly, and then you just get that waft of like warm pine air in your face. That's it.
That's a good one.
Oh, that's a good answer. What superpower scares you most?
Invisibility.
Ooh. Reading thoughts. What's that, telepathy?
Yeah.
You don't want to know what I'm thinking.
Actually.
It's a lot of poo jokes. I'm thinking about poo jokes all the time.
Buy my pee.
That was my next one. Is Buy My Pee or Big Witch?
Oh, so good. Witch.
Yeah, Big Witch is pretty funny. But I'm going to buy my pee.
Do we need to explain that?
Go for it. Yeah, probably. We should probably explain that one.
With lightning.
With lightning.
With lightning, I'll explain. A few years ago, Melissa recorded some cultural competency videos for the Science Center that I used to work for. And I then took some of those videos and edited them down into smaller little bites And while I was doing that, there was a transcript running on the side in English, and the bot couldn't recognize the Anishinaabe language that Melissa was speaking. And so the transcript would come up with these hilarious things, like when she would say, Bama P, see you later, it would come up on the transcript as buy my P, like B-U-Y. And so then I would screenshot it and text it to her and be like, buy my P. And then the next one was Big Witch when she said Miigwech.
Meaning thank you.
Yeah.
So yeah. Buy my pee,
Buy
big
my
witch.
Big Witch.
Yep.
Pretty much how we say goodbye to each other every time we see each other.
Yeah.
I mean, there should be no other way, really.
Well, inside joke that you're all inside of now.
Yeah.
There we
Feel
go.
free to
Perfect.
you don't speak Ojibwe out there, really.
That's good.
Or chatbot Ojibwe.
Or chatbot
Ojibwe. Learn Anishinaabe. Yes.
Last question: fry bread or bannock?
Is there a difference?
Oven baked
Versus
fry.
Oh, I'm all about fry.
I like fry, but I love it. I would say bannock on a stick over a fire.
Oh, you gotta put that's not answering the question.
Oh, bannock on a stick over a
fire. And then you take it off the stick, and then you put in the sacred hot dog.
Yeah, and like inevitably, there's a little bit of raw bannock still in the middle because it hasn't always well, and it's like burnt on the outside. The best.
The soot just puts me off.
Well, I'm into it.
Yeah.
I mean, I haven't had it for years. If anyone can figure out a great gluten-free bannock recipe, please let me know. It's a tricky one.
Okay.
It's a tricky one.
Yeah. It's tricky because it's not the stick. Not the stick.
Are sticks gluten-free? Sticks are
Sticky.
gluten-free.
Sticks are gluten-free. Yes. Thank you. Well,
just give her the stick. Then it's the bannock. Here, chew this stick.
Put some butter on this.
Buy my pee, big witch.
on that note, buy my pee, big witch. Thank you so much for all the laughs, Melissa and Emily. Thank you for sharing your time, your wisdom, your stories, and your laughter, and all the jokes and all the poo stories. I love you both. I love this. As always, to all of our listeners, check out the show notes underneath all the episodes because there's tons of resources for all of you educators and curious minds and hearts. There's videos, articles, and all that fun stuff. I'm going to ask Emily and Melissa if you want to add anything to this episode, anything you want people to watch or resources or any of that fun stuff. They'll be there. And always very cool, unique Indigenous science merch on our website, Relational Science Circle, all one word.com/shop. It helps us keep the website going. There's some cool space back shirts that Emo and I thought of. So, or a free way to support is to like, follow, support, share, rate. Love all of that. That's much appreciated. Got a shout out to the talents of Emo Starlight of Limelight Multimedia for helping us sound great and look great. And thanks to all our loyal listeners. And until next time, go out, learn something from the land, make some relationships with the land. Buy my pee, big witch.
Big witch.
Hi. Much love and respect.